What is up, people? Happy weekend. Welcome back to the Galactic Court podcast. As promised, back today with a stunning review and, of course, stunning person to join us for that as well. We're going to be here to be chatting about Superman, released a few days ago. Some people were very lucky and got to see some early screenings thanks to Prime Video in the UK. We weren't quite as lucky, didn't get to do that over here, but nonetheless, still got to see it. And that's what we're going to be chatting about today. First and foremost, though, if you're not already, please make sure you're out there following the Galactic Core podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, whatever you get your podcast, you'll be able to find it there. Of course, as I mentioned, we've got a fantastic guest, absolute friend of the show, always welcome, absolute pleasure to have him. But please welcome to the show from the So Sidious Podcast. It is JD. How are we doing at JD?
Hello, Andy. Thanks for having us on.
Only kicked in 10 seconds late. It's fine.
Well, always a pleasure, man. I have never not enjoyed a conversation with you. So let's get into it. And such a fun movie to discuss, such a significant movie.
Absolutely. First and foremost, though, tell everyone where they can find the Why So Sidious podcast out there in social media land.
Yeah, we are at Why So Sidious Pod on everything: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, all that stuff. So yeah, at Why So Sidious Pod for the socials. We do a lot of different kind of posts on there, and then we got our full episodes on Spotify, but like top 5 comics on TikTok and some fun stuff. So yeah, appreciate it, man.
You are cooking up a storm as always, still on TikTok, all those comic reviews. Absolutely loving it. And lots of giveaways you're doing as well. Over the last few months you've been doing plenty of it. How are they going?
The last one, so it didn't go great. This big old omnibus I might have to make another video to give it an extra push, but it's a freaking free omnibus. I'm surprised. It's Lucifer though, which it's a weird read. It's a love or hate thing. It has a very high Goodreads rating. It's up in the 4.4s or something, but it's not your action-packed superhero stuff. So there's probably not that appeal. It's a Lucifer book. I didn't like it as much as the Goodreads said I would, but if you're into that kind of stuff, it's really cool. It's the devil comes to earth and he's trying to fit into society, and there's a lot of philosophy and talk about life and death, morality, and very philosophical book.
Nice. Always remember, people, though, it's US only, no international posting, thanks to myself being the cause of that consistently. Love it. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you do cover a lot of stuff. The comic book's going great. We're obviously always covering the comic book every now and again, just you and me and any of the guys that are able to jump on. Hopefully, we've got one coming up, maybe end of August time. Aliens versus Avengers, like xenomorphs up against the superheroes. That should be damn interesting because it's got a lot of good reviews. That I'm kind of interested in the current Godzilla run that they've been doing as well. Godzilla versus Avengers, because Godzilla's been turning up as Ghost Rider. They gave him his own. They literally. Ghost Rider Godzilla, fucking unreal. Like the cover version they did of it to show the picture was fucking amazing.
We're gonna have like a Venom Godzilla,
and then they did like an alternate cover where they gave him Godzilla an Iron Man outfit, and that looked like Mecha Godzilla, to be fair, but but it was pretty funny. So I like that kind of goofy stuff, the Godzilla versus Avengers type of thing. So, I mean, Godzilla did absolutely incinerate Wolverine as well, like with his heat ray blast. He absolutely vaporized him, adamantium and all. So
Wolverine is always getting just torn apart by the bone. Every story.
Oh, gotta love it. We are here to chat about one thing and one thing only. That is really the launch of the DCU proper. I know we've had Creature Commandos already, which is like I guess it was like the soft launch into the DCU. But now we've had the proper first event come out for the DCU. Superman himself, the Man of Steel, out now. We got to see it this week. You were lucky enough to go to a bit of an early screening, so you got to see it, Tuesday, something like that?
Yep.
I went and saw it in the last couple of days. But yeah, absolutely, I'm here for it. So we have chatted a bit about this in the past because there's been a lot of run up and a lot of anticipation running up to the start of the new DCU, and Superman being the big one they needed to kick it off with. A lot of Superman versus Fantastic Four, because that's happening this month, sort of chat as well. But I know kind of what you do, but let's just have a bit of a refresher about your expectations going into Superman and the start of the DCU in general. Because I know that you're a James Gunn supporter on this one.
Yeah.
I've had my little doubts here and there about whether he's the right man to completely helm it going forward. But yeah, what was your anticipation level going into this?
My anticipation was very high, setting myself up for failure, but it didn't fail, so that was awesome. But anyway, my anticipation was really high because this dude is a comic book fan. He was, and I've said this on even your show before, but he was even in Marvel while it was the highest functioning machine, putting out the best movies, and he was right there making movies with them. He was going to head up the cosmic side of Marvel. He was going to give him like a little Feige position for the cosmic side. But now you just go over to this other franchise with these just amazing characters with such rich backstories. And I think it was like the best man on the planet for the job. So I figured this movie would be really good.
And where do you see Superman fitting in amongst them? Because obviously they laid out a lot of plans, to be fair, straight from the off, in terms of like maybe the first 10, 12 projects. They maybe announced a few more on top of that since then. Maybe a couple have dropped off that was originally announced. And it did seem like he was maybe changing the plan a little bit round with chats and talks about who was going to be playing who and stuff like that. But where did you see Superman being the first? Was it the right film to start the DCU off with, or would you have preferred a Batman, or where would you? Is this the way that you would have gone starting off?
Me personally, I think Superman is a very safe bet to start the franchise off with. What's funny is there even a Supergirl movies. The first two movies are Krypton based characters, so they're really going in on these super people. James Gunn went out publicly said that the backbone of the DCU is the Trinity, of course, but also Supergirl. So Supergirl, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. So they're really developing that side of things. We've just seen so many Batman, so it's kind of nice to wait. We already have all this Pattinson confusion. Finally, we have a script, I guess. I like that they're doing different characters. I like that they did the main guy, Superman, but now we're getting to all these other ones are obscure as hell. Swamp Thing, Supergirl, people we've never seen on the big screen. So you start with familiar, build your foundation, and then you go into the obscure. I think it's a good plan.
And do you like the plan of where a lot of these aren't going to be origin stories, so they're already established, whether it's year 2 or 3, like Superman is year 3. Batman's probably going to be a bit older, a bit more established, because they said that, was it The Brave and the Bold, he's going to be older with his son Damian around already. So, and he said it's not going to be linear, so it's a bit like, instead of it being like Marvel or the MCU where everything's done in like a timeline order, it's going to be more like Star Wars where you can jump from era to era and set things up that way. So are you a fan of that approach as well, or would you prefer a more linear approach, because does it get a bit confusing if you're jumping around? Because Star Wars is only like works like that, doesn't it? Because it's established with the original trilogy, prequels, sequels, and then you can just fill in gaps. Because this has not got yet to that stage, is it going to be a bit confusing to start with, or are you happy that you're going to get to play around like that?
Well, I think he's just putting a lot of faith and trust in the audience, and I like that. When I thought of Star Wars after watching Superman, I was like, yeah, I guess Han Solo, Chewbacca, everyone, Tarkin, everyone was just thrown in there in the middle of this. So like, it made me take a step back, which was kind of a gripe where I wanted to know more of the background of the Hawk Girl and Mr. Terrific, which I'm not saying that would make it a better movie. I'm just saying that's what I wanted as a freaking comic fan, I guess. But it made me step back and kind of appreciate it, just being thrown into the middle of it. And as far as origins go, I think that's on a very case-by-case basis, because obviously Batman and Superman and you could argue a Wonder Woman could use an origin, especially if they do a very different rendition. But there's certainly characters that we don't need an origin for. But there's also certainly characters you do. Like some of them that we know kind of aren't getting origins, like the Robins, Nightwing and Red Hood, they have this weird animated thing coming out. So I think a lot of characters do need an origin for their first big live action portrayal. We haven't had a successful Batman and Robin or any kind of major Robin. And some people argue we've seen the origin in anime or animated, so we don't need it in that. But I'm like, the live action audience is so different. It's your biggest audience for any of the franchises. Like, that's the most eyes on the product. And I think you should really do origins for like the Robins. And I'm sure Swamp Thing will have an origin, which he should, because we haven't seen that. But man, especially the Bat family has such a cool special story. The Robins transforming into someone new after they leave Batman. It's all so beautiful. Great family drama there. And I think I would like the origins of them, but it sounds like we're not going to get them. But case by case, man, we do not need Superman origin, Batman origin.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, isn't it? Like the big characters, we've seen their origins so many times. I think James Gunn said, he's like, there's only so many times you need to see Bruce Wayne's parents being killed. You don't need to see it. A bit like, when they chose to gloss over Tobey Maguire's origins as Tom Holland in the MCU, because they're like, yeah, we've seen him be bitten by a spider several times. Don't need to see it again. So the same here. I think that's fair enough. Yeah, the big characters, you don't really need to have their origins. I just hope we get to see moments where some of these characters interact for the first time, because I know that a big part of Justice League is seeing Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all those characters come together and start to trust each other to be able to form the Justice League. Whereas if you're kind of skipping over that and all of a sudden you've got like a year 10 Batman and he's all of a sudden interacting on screen with a Superman that's been around for like 5 years, and you just miss that starting interaction and getting all the trust built up over time. I just hope we don't get to skip past that, and then we still get that in a way.
I know. I really hope he has never met Batman yet. Like, just specifically, I hope Superman has never met Batman in this universe. And I think that's probably true. The Justice Gang tells me that obviously a Justice League doesn't exist. So that's good. I think we're going to, because that first Avenger movie magic where everyone's meeting each other for the first time and maybe fighting a little bit before they trust each other, all that is so magical, man. So you got to do that once for DC, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon so. Okay then, so it's Tuesday evening. You've just walked out the cinema after your early screening. First impressions of the film?
I was thrilled. Yeah, I was just so happy that my expectations were met. I was surprised and unsurprised. I was surprised because usually my expectations are way higher than the quality of the movie ends up being. But I was also not surprised because it is James Gunn, man. I was expecting this to be good. It's not like I didn't know the director and the trailer was really good and I love the character or anything. It's like, no, what? This guy wrote and directed it. His resume is one of the best for comic movies. So yeah, I was unsurprised in that way, but I was thrilled, man. I was happy that the humor wasn't pushed too hard like I was worried it might have been. And I was thrilled with the action. I teared up a couple times. It hit every beat, man. And it was fun. It was just fun. The whole movie was fast-paced. Even the slower dialogue scenes were interesting. So I was never bored. It was just a great time.
Yeah, I have to admit, I mean, I didn't go in necessarily with high expectations, simply because I didn't really know what to expect. It's the start of something brand new. We've seen so many Superman films before now, and it's just like, I don't know, I didn't want to go in with high expectations in case I came out severely disappointed. So I was like, let me just go in feeling like as if it's going to be just okay, and then if it's better than that, then I'll be happy. But yeah, I walked out quite happy. The more the film went on, the more I liked Superman, this version of Superman as a character. I was really intrigued by him, and I was happy to see him have a good movie, to be fair. I definitely have some things to pick on it a little bit. But overall, I walked out and I went, you know what, this was a good start. Obviously, there was so much worry about whether it was going to be good or not. But I think this is a good solid start for the DCU, and I was really happy with it. Let's dive into some of the characters then. So let's start off with the man himself, Superman. So I really enjoyed it. I thought he got better as the film went on, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure about him at the start, but by the end, and maybe that final confrontation with Lex and his little ship, by the end, that felt like Superman to me. It really did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. As the movie as a whole, I wasn't completely sold in the first half. I was enjoying it, but the second half is what really, really sold me. And yeah, the character of Superman just like grew on me. It was a lot like Chris Evans, I feel like, in the MCU, which it kind of should be. It's kind of that you're that leg in the table of your team, Superman and Captain America in a way. They're the moral compass. They're the righteous, honorable, whatever. But the way Chris Evans carried it was so believable. And, it was just like he was not joking around about it. He's doing the right thing and he's going to do whatever it takes. And that's just how the Superman thing did too. And he felt like a little farm boy. He would say golly and stuff, which threw me off. But at the same time, just his demeanor was so innocent. yet he was willing to push so hard, to save the people he loves. It was beautiful Superman. It's my favorite Superman on screen for sure. Better than
Yeah,
Henry Cavill.
already after just the one
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
Wow, big statement. I hope
It's
he
easy.
continues in that fashion for you then. I mean, what about Lois Lane? I'll go first on this one, but I did not like Lois in this film.
Really?
I thought she was very nondescript. To me, there was no personality there. She felt very generic as a character. I felt that you could have replaced her, and you could have called her another name. You could have replaced her with another character, and she still would have had the same impact throughout the film. Obviously, it's Lois, so you're going by the gravitas and the name of the character gives that particular character weight in their actions, what they're doing, and the words that they're saying. But at the same point, I just thought she was very generic. I didn't think there was that much personality in the character, and it just felt very bland to me. So I did come out of this thinking that was probably the worst thing about the movie for me, was actually her performance and her character. It just didn't feel like there was anything there. It's maybe hard because Lois isn't a superhero. She has certain things to offer, but obviously other characters are far more important in a way, even though she balances out Superman and Clark very well in general. But some of the previous iterations we've had of Lois, I kind of felt were just better and added more to the character. Obviously, first film, there's still going to be more to come from her. But yeah, that's how I felt. I actually thought, in terms of individual performance in the film and the impact I felt from the character, she was one of the worst. There's one other person that I'm going to get to that I'll mention later on that, in terms of blandness, I felt the exact same level on. But yeah, for me, Lois didn't hit in this movie. What about you?
Interesting. I liked her a lot, actually. I thought she was strong and interesting, and I liked how she challenged Superman on these issues. I liked that it was coming from his own relationship in a way where there could be at least an attempt at a productive conversation, not just people pointing fingers in the media. I liked that she was a source of like truth and reality to what Superman really is, at least letting him consider, his actions, whatever. I just thought she did bring it, though. She sold me. I don't know if I like her more than Amy Adams,
Yeah, yeah.
but I'm pretty damn sure I do. Amy Adams was a little. She felt generic to me. She felt very, very generic. Just the person investigating every other scene, like. But I felt Rachel Brosnahan brought it. I thought she did have that spunk and a spice, and I also liked that their relationship wasn't perfect. I liked that they had their problems and flaws, and it wasn't glorified. Do you think that they're gonna get pregnant in the next few years, and we're gonna have a John Kent?
Oh, I mean, it's an interesting one because I already felt the way they ended their relationship in the film felt rushed, really rushed to me. Because I did like the bit where she's interviewing him as Superman and they were arguing, and like Clark's taking it personally rather than as like, because it's coming from Lois, rather than if it was a generic reporter interviewing him. But the fact that, like, they said they've only been dating for 3 months. Okay, they've been working together probably for a few years now. And so there could obviously be more feelings in the background, but the fact that in terms of relationship throughout the film, she seems so unsure about being in this relationship with him. She even said that I was thinking really about breaking up with him, and that she was thinking that was probably that. And then all of a sudden she has a complete 180 at the end, and she's like, "Yep, I love you too." After he said it to her, so it took the fact that like him saving Metropolis and saving the world for her to turn around and go, "Yeah, I love you now." That just felt, from where she was earlier in the film, to have that complete 180 in that space of time, to go from I actually was thinking the best thing was to break up with you, to then go, "Oh, I love you" by the end of it. It just felt a bit rushed and a bit insincere to me.
No, I don't think she ever was like wanting to break up. She just had a moment of, like, shit, I always screw up relationships. It was not like she was going to break up with him, right? And they had.
No, she did say it. She was thinking about it in the film, so.
That's fair. But they also had a turning point conversation when that purple blob was in the background, which was so weird considering how much we were theorizing what that was when that photo came out.
And it was nothing.
It was just a background action scene for a conversation. But I thought it was funny when guys just smacking it with the bat. Which kind of made me laugh. But I felt like that really brought them back together there. And then after that, he saves the world, so she gets all frisky.
Fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. She just doesn't quite hit it. I hope, obviously, we're going to see more projects. Maybe it's one of those ones that will grow on me over time. A bit like Ahsoka from Star Wars, to be fair. I think I just hated Ahsoka to start with, and now she's a great character. Fair. So yeah, I think maybe hopefully she's going to be one that grows over time. But Since I mentioned blandness in one character, we'll get it out of the way just because it just annoyed me. But Hawk Girl in this did nothing for me at all.
Yeah, they didn't give her anything.
I know that she was, but there was just seemed to be no personality there at all. It's a bit weird when you bring together a gang like the Justice Gang, who are already established superheroes in this world, but you're not giving them. I mean, Guy Gardner was good. I thought I actually enjoyed him in this movie quite a lot. But it's just Hawk Girl just added nothing to it for me. I was just like, you could have taken her out and it would have made zero difference to the film, I think.
Yeah, I would say it's the JSA as a whole, even though I loved Mr. Terrific, and I liked Guy a lot too, and Metamorpho I really liked. But like I said, just the selfish side of me just wanted their backgrounds. I wanted to know more about the Hawk people. I wanted to know more about the Green Lanterns, even though it's just guys, so I don't really care about that because we got Lanterns coming out soon anyway. I wanted to know more about Mr. Terrific, so as I said, I was cool with being shoved in the middle of it all. I don't know, it made me question why they chose those characters, and they just felt like they were simply there. Mr. Terrific was given the most action anyway, stuff to do, stuff to progress the heroes, and then Guy was kind of given some action and some, dialogue, having conversations with Lois about Superman, which that whole thing was funny. He's like, he's one of us, and she's like, huh? Of the cloth. It's hilarious. And she's leaving, and she's like, that haircut should be against your vows.
Yeah.
So he had some good stuff. But yeah, Hawk Girl was given the least amount, and she's honestly like the one I'm kind of most curious about. Her and Carter Hall. I want to know. There's a lot of mythology or backstory behind the Hawk people. They're very interesting. That made me feel like it was just like kind of off-putting that there's just so many characters that we know nothing about in this movie, and but I think there is he plans ahead, and I think obviously our questions will be answered. This is just movie one; it's an introduction, so a lot more is coming. And again, you kind of like that though. It's like learning more about Han Solo and Chewie as we move along. So we'll get to know them very closely by the end of it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that. Sometimes the expectations are there that you want to know everything about every character immediately.
Right.
I hear what you're saying. I want to know more about Hawk Girl and Hawkman, Carter Hall, because there isn't. Am I right by saying their history is like that they get reincarnated every time they die, and then they find each other again in the next life, so to speak. But they're constantly being chased down by. Yes. Or is that by?
No, you're right. So they reincarnate.
I can't remember the bad guy's name off the top
Is
of
it
my head.
Barbados?
No, it's God. It's bugging me. I'm gonna have to look it up now. You talk whilst I look it up.
Yeah, it was when they reincarnate, they find each other, and every time they find each other, very shortly after they get killed again. Like that's their curse: reincarnation, love, and death. And I'm pretty sure they're intergalactic. They're like Thanagar.
Oh,
pretty
really?
sure the Hawk people are from another planet.
It's bugging me that I can't find it now.
And then I'll ask you, I wonder if you liked Black Adam's JSA more.
Oh, yeah.
Justice Gang.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking of the villain. It might not give me the right one. But the Legend of Tomorrow. I don't know if you didn't watch that, did you? TV show. Vandal Savage. That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So he's the one that also is like lives for he's immortal, and
Right.
so in the Legends of Tomorrow he chases them down throughout history and time and stuff because they get reincarnated, and he always finds them in the next life and kills them because he's in love with Hawk Girl randomly. But I just felt obviously maybe she's just a bit part. She was just there. They were a character. Went okay. Let's just pick her. She's already established. Let's throw her in. But it did feel unfortunately quite bland. Mr. Terrific, I thought was, as his namesake says, terrific. I actually really enjoyed him in this film. I thought that Edi Gatherje did a really good job playing Mr. Terrific. He obviously got a bit sort of stitched up doing X-Men, didn't he, in his character there, that should never have been killed off. And in recent reports, in interviews he's been doing, he said that he was promised that the character would live beyond one movie and then was killed off in the first one. So he's looking at this as kind of a redemption arc for his like superhero playing character as well. So, but yeah, I thought Mr. Terrific was really good in this film. I really loved him. I thought he did a really good job. And it's interesting that that he himself. He said that he's described his character as an atheist who believes in justice, and he said that Michael Holt, who's the name of Mr. Terrific, found meaning in knowledge after experiencing the death of his wife. So I don't know if that ties into any like comic book origin for him or not, or whether that's just something that he's come up with himself, or whether him and James are going to sit down and discuss that.
I know nothing of Mr. Terrific's comic book background. I couldn't. I mean, I've read Jeff Johns' JSA. He's in there, but there's just not a single standout story, information, anything I have on Mr. Terrific from the comics. Oddly enough,
Fair. But yeah, Guy Gardner, just to round off the Justice Gang. Yeah, we've talked about him briefly. I thought it was funny in this movie. Obviously, that awful haircut. Where do you see him falling in with the Lanterns TV show? Because obviously we know that we're having Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in that show, and Guy Gardner's already been described as the Green Lantern who was picked to defend Earth. So I don't know a lot about the Lanterns either in terms of the lore behind them, but I thought you could only have one protector for each section of space. Or is that what, am I just diving into the stupid Ryan Reynolds film where they said that?
Yeah, that was just that, because they could have more. Usually it's John and Hal as Space Sector 2814, but then there was Jessica Cruz and the other dude. There was like 4 at one time. But to answer your question, where does Guy fit in? I think he, as he should be, is going to be an outcast. I don't think they're going to love him because he kind of sold out. I don't know if he's probably making money using his powers instead of just doing his job, and he's wearing a stupid uniform. And I think they're going to make fun of him for it. I don't think they're going to like him too much, and I think it's like he's the bratty stepchild. I don't know.
Fair. Yeah, I assume the same thing. He'd be considered an outcast because he's going off doing his own thing or playing up to the crowd and the media and stuff, doing what he's doing rather than taking his job seriously. So I think we'll get cameos of him, won't we, in the Lantern show? But he's not going to play. He's not going to be a big part of it, is he? So let's move on to Lex Luthor. Played by Nicholas Hoult. You tell me your impressions of his performance here in the character first, because I know that we covered a Lex comic the month or two ago, and I've got to reading a bit more about Lex in the meantime.
Which, did you see Nicholas Hoult in an interview said to read that book? He read that book specifically for his. That's awesome. But I will say, like, the Lex I know and love from the comics seems a little more calm, confident, in control. With that said, I think Nicholas Hoult was absolutely incredible. The facial expressions, just everything about it. The quirkiness is what threw me off, though. That's why I don't know if it's just like I like it, but I don't love it. The characterization of Lex. Now that he's a prisoner, I think, though, that might actually work out really well. When he's not in power, without that confidence, without being on top of the world, I could see this characterization actually working really well. When he's put in a very different situation with Nicholas Hoult doing it. But yeah, I was a little thrown off by the quirkiness. He seemed a little too much, and I also hated the computer code fight system. I thought that was ridiculous, but... What did you
Although
think?
A little bit similar in a way to that comic we read, isn't it? When he's sending, I can't remember the name of the engineer, the human that he created in that comic. I think it was like Eve or Rose or something. Yeah. And he was like using different fight combinations through the computer to tell her how to beat Superman. So that kind of comes from there a little bit, I suppose.
Good catch, yeah. Didn't even think of that.
But yeah, I didn't really enjoy this iteration of Lex either. I thought he was very whiny, very petulant. I don't know why. I don't think Nicholas Holt's voice suited this either. I was like, you kind of, when it comes to Lex, I do expect someone a bit more calm, a bit more balanced, in control of their voice a lot. Even when things go wrong, he just came across as childish in this to me. I think it's probably the best word I can think of. It wasn't maybe the Lex I was expecting. It was almost like he was too over the top in the way that he was trying to get across his obsession of Superman. And it just came across a bit too over the top and a bit too much. Whether that balances out, as we said, because this is just the first film, whether him going to prison and his eventual escape will lead him to being more calm and collected and being able to take things more evenly. I think we'll obviously have to wait and see. But yeah, I didn't hate this character the same way that I did Lois, but I did feel it wasn't the best version of Lex that I was maybe expecting or that we could have seen. So yeah, I think there is work for him to do on this one, but again, like we said, it's only film one. I think there are changes coming to the characters that as their film appearances go on, will maybe get more truer to the character that we're expecting, and I think Lex is going to be one of those. To be fair,
we were speculating beforehand that he might meet Sinestro in this or try to recruit a villain in this movie as an end credit scene or something, but him going to Belle Reve at the end of this is definitely heading that direction. You know what I mean? That's where he's going to meet his villains, and he's going to build that Legion of Doom. So I think we were kind of half right on that.
I think he's getting there. I mean, we mentioned Metamorpho. I thought he did great on there. It was good to see Anthony Carrigan playing him as well, because he's obviously played villain in Gotham for like 5 years, and he said it was great to have the chance to turn that around and play hero for a change, because he always gets picked as a bad guy. So I thought he did a really good job in it. Now I'm a father. I don't really like these scenes where they're taking kids hostages and stuff.
Oh man, yeah,
it fucking gets me a little bit more. It hits a little bit harder to home now. So I was like, the bastards. I was like, I hope he gets out and kills them all. In general, how did you feel about the whole plot of the film? Because there was a lot going on, as you said. It was fast paced as well. I thought maybe they could have confined it a little bit and tried, instead of trying to do too much. Because I know they explained some things late in the film, but just the way they set it up and the fact that it was jumping from, just the opening scene where he's lost the fight to what's going on with the war to Lex all of a sudden infiltrating the secret hideout, and just all those sorts of things. The way it went, I just thought they could have drawn it back a little bit and maybe focused a bit more on maybe the battle between Superman and Lex. Or rather than adding in the pocket dimension stuff as well, and there's a black hole that's going to tear through it all at the same point. It felt maybe a bit over the top.
And for me, too impersonal with Lex and Superman. The conversations were very personal, but I mean, Lex was just calling shots from his office the whole time, and it was just a little too much. He could have, it'd be so cliche, but he could have gone out and captured or taken his buddies hostage, from work. He could have done a lot more Lex Luthor stuff. Oh, man, I can't believe we didn't see the green suit starting to get built or anything like that. I thought that was possible that we'd see that green suit in this movie, and they would maybe have a little showdown. I don't know, but yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. Forgot my point. Sorry.
That's right. How do you feel about the Engineer and Ultraman? Obviously, the Ultraman situation, just to premise it turns out to be a clone, like a Bizarro type situation, where Lex has combed all the battles that Superman's had for the last 3 years, found his hair, and managed to make a clone out of that he is basically stupid, he says, and is able to easily be directed and manipulated and stuff. So, but somehow he said he's made him even stronger than Superman and more durable, which didn't make sense because Superman still beat him at the end. But yeah, kind of like a Bizarro type situation, and the Engineer having all the nanites and stuff, so being able to form whatever she needed to. I'm not sure how I felt about that, to be honest. But Ultraman, I know there was a heavy rumour that Henry Cavill was playing him, which would have been absolutely funny to have still revealed it to be a clone, but he's aged a bit more than Superman.
Just looks slightly different.
Yeah,
only slightly too. Engineer again. I expected at least some information on the Authority. Again, that's just selfish comic-y stuff. But yeah, zero Authority mentioned. So it's like where she was just created. That's all we got. And then you got Ultraman, who is Bizarro for all intents and purposes, but he's wrapped in an Ultraman suit. And then, dude, he got sucked into a black hole. So I'm like, is he a back pocket Ultraman player for later, where he's going to come back as the comic accurate Ultraman instead of coming back as a comic accurate Bizarro? Because if he can go, I don't know where the black hole takes him, but it's comic book stuff. So he could land on a planet and rule over them. Maybe even the message that they uncovered is getting to him. With that DNA, that message about ruling is getting to him. So he rules some planet, and then he shows up later with his, because that's what Ultraman is in the comics. He's just an alternate universe evil Superman. That is very far-fetched, but that would be kind of cool, and you could do that. But you gotta wonder. See, they set up so much stuff. Lex is in Belle Reve. That dude's in the black hole. He could just be dead. But we have such a solid foundation now. And back to the pacing you were saying, I remember the point I was trying to make was I totally agree that they could have dialed back a lot. Like there was so much, like the whole rift of the planet thing. You could have, you could have dialed back on some of these crazy comic-y concepts. But I don't know. It was a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just trying to make it perfect in our own heads at this point. But it was so good. It was so good.
Do you think they missed a little bit of a trick with the Pocket Universe and the fact that you could have thrown in some really big Easter eggs in there just for fun, and just some random characters that maybe you're never going to feature in the films or anything like that, but you could have just had them hidden in there?
I was hoping for more Easter eggs in general, man. Wayne Tech, a green suit being built, anything. I was hoping for a little more. I really thought that we were going to get a banger post credit of some sort. Was really hoping for that. Not why are we even waiting anymore, dude? God.
I'm pretty sure James Gunn did say that don't expect Marvel-style post-credit scenes for the DCU. That wasn't the route that he was going to go down. He did want to make them just fun things to end the film with, rather than because he did. I'm pretty sure he said that he didn't like that Marvel recipe of taking scenes from upcoming films and putting them at the end of this one just to introduce the next set of characters or the next film that was coming along. He wanted to have it contained within the film. So like the last scene itself within the normal film time would be a post-credit scene. It's like setting something else up rather than it being a post-credits thing. So I wasn't surprised when you messaged me, because when I asked you and messaged you, is there any post-credit scenes? Just so I know, do I have to stay to the end? You were like, it's not worth it. It's just a good little comedic scene. Funny to see Mr. Terrific kicking off about that. He's like, not my fault the building didn't fucking go back together perfectly, but yeah, still kind of pointless in a way. I know what you mean, but
yeah.
You mentioned when you were just talking about Ultraman about the message from his parents. I did want to touch on that because this felt a bit bizarre to me. Maybe you can help me out with some comic knowledge here. So it's the first half of the message that Superman gets to hear, obviously about him going to Earth, protect them, learn from them, but obviously be there for them at the end of the day is like the general gist of it. And then this second half of the message that supposedly was garbled that the engineer managed to find, saying that he should go there and rule over them, kill whoever you need to get to the top, but basically you have the power to go out and rule all of them. It felt like a setup the whole way through that this was obviously something that Lex had done. And the fact that he says, 28 of the world's top linguists have confirmed that this is what the translation is, and a bunch of video editors have confirmed that it's not fake. And the only sort of real confirmation we got after that was when Mr. Terrific turns around to him and says, hey, I know these guys. If they say it's real, then it's real. But I was still expecting somewhere along the line for it to be debunked.
I thought so too.
Because no Superman film anyway, have we ever had a message from the parents saying, go and kill millions, rule over them with an iron fist sort of thing. And I don't know if that's ever come from the comics either.
Hell no, dude. That was like James Gunn's creative liberties to make it unique and interesting, throw his own spin on it. And I kind of respect it. I think it shines the light on how good of a person Superman is, and it shines the light on the nurture over nature with Ma and Pa Kent. So I think all that does is, just shows how good of a person Superman is, despite having all this power, which is why I've come to terms with that's why Superman is special. It's because he is the most powerful, but he's also the most good and does the right thing with that power that he could do anything with. He could rule the world, but since he's such a good person, and that wouldn't shine if he was just an average powered dude. So I'm starting to understand why Superman is such a cool character. That just put a completely other spin on it, because the contrast of now his parents' motives and his own motives, his heart, what he wants to do. All he wants to do is do good for humanity, even though his parents are telling him to rule and he has the power to do it. He's just too good of a person.
Yeah, I think that's a really fair point. It does shine a bit more, doesn't it, on the strength he has, and the John and Martha putting into him that you're a good person, you've got the ability to do good, so do good, rather than use it for evil, because otherwise, what's the point? So yeah, I understand what you mean there. It's even now it just still wrangles with it, and just feels wrong that that's what the actual second part of the message was. It just doesn't sit right that this is the genuine thing. That somewhere along the line, I'm going to expect it to be debunked.
Me too. It's still possible.
Still part of his plan, and he paid off all these linguists and tech guys to confirm that it was real. I just don't know. I just sit there and go, no, it just doesn't quite sit right. So
Yeah.
I think lastly, let's talk about the Daily Planet gang. Because I was a little bit disappointed Perry didn't get a little bit more screen time or a few more lines in this. I felt like half of the people they threw into that gang could have been taken out because they made no pointless them being there. Like Kat was in there, didn't really just running around with blonde hair and big tits. It's just like, okay, that was don't know what the point of her was in the movie.
Yeah.
And then that other dude that was taking the piss out of Clark at the beginning when he's on the phone with his mum and stuff, and then is freaking out when they're on the ship and stuff.
Lombard or whatever.
Yeah, he just seemed pointless as well. To be fair, I don't know what his point he was there.
Both those characters in the comics, they are pointless, but they're always there just to be annoying. He's your douchebag, kind of macho, cocky douchebag, and then she's your whatever you want to call it. She's like the girl version of that. I don't know. It's funny that they were even in the movie. I don't know why they're in the comics, but they looked a lot like their little comic portrayals when Gary Frank drew it. Jeff John's Secret Origins. They looked a lot like those characters, those very pointless characters. But also, I had a thing about the linguist. Can you imagine? Wouldn't it be cool if Mr. Terrific was like, yeah, they were all, these are linguists. I trust them. And all I really needed was to hear one linguist and the one video verifier, whatever it was. And it was like, it's like the Wayne Industries. All I needed was verification from this one. That would have been a cool Easter egg.
They could have done that. Yeah, I don't know why you didn't think of that, but
that's sick.
But yeah, I was just thinking it's 2025. We've kind of moved on from having like the jock type adult that takes the piss out of like the nerds and stuff like that, or having like the blonde bimbo bundling around the office. I kind of thought we moved past that nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It just must be an Easter egg because those characters are consistent. They're always in the comics.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just in line with the fact that they are characters that would be there in the background. So fair. Where do you expect Superman to go after this in terms of?
That's a great question.
What project do you see him in next? Is it Superman 2? Do you see him popping up in another film first? I mean,
the only upcoming movies I could see him showing up in is Supergirl. And I think this movie really showed us how dedicated they are to making films. Yeah, we haven't talked about that. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, this movie showed me that they are completely 100% dedicated to making a good film and not teasing things, not fully going MCU, which is fine. It just makes me think we're absolutely not going to get him in any other project. Supergirl maybe only. I just don't think we're going to see him again until Superman 2 or something like that. Man, I think more than ever, we have a long way before Justice League.
Yeah, I think that's a long way off still, isn't it? Quickly, obviously, Millie Alcock playing Supergirl. We know that hers is the next film up, isn't it? And it looks like obviously this is going to be a big turnaround of character for her, because introduced in this as being a party girl who turns up drunk, and that Krypto's actually her dog rather than Clark's. Krypto, by the way, loved him in this film. Thought he was absolutely amazing, especially awesome. chasing around Mr. Terrific's T-Spheres and crushing them all. It's just absolutely hilarious. But yeah, obviously Supergirl turns up. Sounds like she's just a party girl that loves going off to different planets and getting drunk and partying and stuff. And obviously it looks like with her film coming up next, she's going to have a big change of character to become the Supergirl that I think we're probably a bit more familiar with. So again, I ask you as more of a DC expert from the comics than me, is this an accurate thing, or is this again James Gunn taking a bit of liberal or liberties with the character in terms of developing her to be a party girl that's then going to become a superhero rather than the other way?
This is actually kind of accurate to specifically the Woman of Tomorrow comic. She's pretty much a regular super person, and the other ones, as far as I know, but yeah, you start that comic with her in a bar drinking, and that's where this person who wants revenge on someone else finds her in a bar, and their journey begins. And yeah, she was drinking and I'm pretty sure she got into a fight at the bar, and that's how she gained the attention of our co-main character there, who wants revenge on some bounty hunter who killed her dad. That's what that story's about. I thought it was so funny when Krypto was cracking the ground with her skull as she was laughing. And Superman's like, well, clearly that's why he behaves the way he does. That was so funny, and it kind of went full circle with Crypto, and it makes sense. And a really not like that was my favorite. I liked that cameo more than the Peacemaker one. Peacemaker was a funny cameo,
Yeah.
but I really loved to get a look at Millie Alcock before her movie. So and man, the reception of this movie is so good. The box office has done really well, 120 million opening weekend, and you got a look at the character that's got a movie coming out next. So I'm thinking her box office is going to shoot pretty damn high as well.
But yeah, I especially when was it Robot Number 4 when he's chatting to, and he's just like, oh, I can see where the dog gets his discipline from. It's just like,
Yeah, that's funny.
But obviously, Alan Tudyk playing the robot is absolutely hilarious. So,
and thanks for watching them, bitch. I thought that was just like perfect.
Why'd you move the door? I didn't. It's still in the same place, just crashing through anyway. Like.
Oh, and you asked when I'll think where we're going to see Superman next. Where do you think we'll see Lex next?
That's an interesting one, because I think he comes back maybe before Superman does.
Yeah. Recruiting.
Exactly.
Recruiting.
I don't think we'll have to wait that long to see Lex. I think maybe
Lanterns.
Well, maybe that's a bit. I mean, I don't have the order in front of me of what's coming out when in terms of there. But I was thinking maybe like I can genuinely see us not seeing Superman for another 6, 7, 8 projects. Maybe even a bit more than that if you've got everything comes out the way that they originally planned it. It could be literally another 2 to 3 years before we see Superman again.
They're going to such different pockets of the universe, So they're spreading it out so much. So I don't expect a sequel to anything soon. I expect a very different movies, like very just different corners. Your magic side, your space side, you got a grounded Batman side. You got your, you know what I mean. So yeah, Superman's not just going to pop up. We don't. That's not their formula. It seems like. So I agree. Yeah, 6, 7, 8 projects.
So I'm just having a look to see. If there's a list of when the projects are coming out.
All we know for sure is Supergirl and Lanterns are up next. And they're pretty sure. I know Lanterns is done shooting and everything. Supergirl might be done shooting too. I don't know. If not, they are shooting.
We got Creature Commandos, Lanterns, Paradise Lost, Booster Gold. Here we go. So Superman, Supergirl. Supergirl's scheduled to come out June next year. And then Clayface is the next one after that, September 26. Then, if you believe the way that it's written here, it's going to be The Authority, The Brave and the Bold, and Swamp Thing are the next few projects after that. Then it says after that, Untitled Teen Titans film, Untitled Bane and Deathstroke film, then Sergeant Rock, then Wonder Woman, then Justice League. Whether that actually comes out in that order or not, I don't know. But you can see, you can see Lex sort of sticking his nose into anything, really, in terms of him being the next one that shows up. I definitely expect him to show up way before Superman again. Like you said, he's going to be recruiting. He's going to be sticking his nose into places, trying to get things set up. I wouldn't be surprised if he did have even a small cameo in the Batman film.
Yeah. I could see that, but in Belle Reve especially, anybody can go visit Belle Reve, so you could see him anywhere. Peacemaker, don't they do Belle Reve stuff in Peacemaker a lot? I don't know, but I know Waller does for sure. But with Lex, dude, I'm sticking to my Sinestro thing, because I thought an end credit would be Lex meeting Sinestro, since he's already cast and he's got a show coming out. Well, now, and especially since the Lanterns is introducing the big threat of the DCU somehow, Lex has to be involved, bro. And Sinestro in there, and he's just one of the big Legion of Doom characters, so I can see Lex popping up in Lanterns. But I would say that shit before Superman, and they're not going with those kind of teases. But they have to at some point. They're going to start doing a bunch of cool villain teases, like, oh shit, those villains are teaming up for the next one. So I would put $5 on Lex showing up in Lanterns, because I could lose $5 and that's not.
So, what is your next most anticipated DCU project?
Swamp Thing.
I should have known that's what you were going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard you say that before. So, what's got you so excited about that?
Well, it's the corner of the universe we're going to, a dark magic corner, a very interesting character, a full-on elemental. I think he takes Superman in a fight easily. I mean, he's like just he's Mother Earth. He's plant god. I don't know. He's the elemental of plants. His story is cool. And I don't know. It's just a top 3 comic run of all time is Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. And you can get so philosophical diving into life and death and the balance of life and what humans are doing to the earth, which is always interesting to poke into. And I just think the possibilities are endless. I don't think there's any way to determine what way they're going to go for that movie, which is exciting. But I cannot wait to learn about the Swamp Thing and just visit that corner. And I love the doors it opens to everything else. It's just Marvel. I don't love the Marvel magic stuff. It just seems a little Disney. And I don't mean to say that because Disney made it. I'm just saying it seems a little, it should be a little more obscure or something, and I'm hoping that the magic in this DC will be really cool. But yeah. So my point is Constantine showing up, which he was introduced for the first time ever in comics in a Swamp Thing comic. So no. I just think that would be so sick. Whether he shows up or not, I'm just stoked for Swamp Thing. What about you?
Lanterns.
Yes, yeah, it's hard.
I'm excited for that one. I like the fact they're doing it as a TV show rather than a film. And they're doing the whole mystery detective vibe to it. And I want to know more about the Lanterns in general. I don't know. I know enough about them, but I want to dive into these particular ones and see where they set them up to be. So, and just the Lantern Corps in general, whether we get to see more of that or whether it's just going to be they're just going to focus on the Earth-based like Hal and John for now, before doing anything else with the Lantern Corps in general. So.
Oh. And we already know the Guardians of the Universe are going to be in there. So they will be going to space. And I forgot if the writer or director said, yeah, we're doing terrestrial, but we're definitely building towards space. Like, we're going to space in the show, too. So, man, that's right below Swamp Thing for me. It's Lanterns, man. Especially the fact that they're building the big threat there. Man, I can't wait to see little Guardians of the Universe. Those little badass blue dudes are scary and interesting.
Let's wrap up then with 2 final questions. One... for this film, and then one random question I just want to throw out there just for the sake of it. Give Superman a rating for me. What would you rate it?
I think I have it at an 8.9.
Fair.
I think that's where it's at for me.
It's still pretty high, actually.
Very high, yeah.
I think because of a couple of, for me, bland characters in this, and Lex's not portrayal being quite where I thought it was going to be, I think I gave it a 7.4.
Okay,
it's still quite high. I'm notoriously bad, harsh with my ratings. So I think 7.4 is pretty decent for me. Actually,
well, I remember on the podcast I gave it an 8.6 because it fit right there, like in between Deadpool and Wolverine and Thunderbolts on my MCU list, and so I think that's what it was.
Fair. And then lastly, just for the hell of it, because I've had this conversation with quite a few people, and I'm always interested to get your opinion on the show on it. I fully expect it to change, but next year, right now, 18th of December, Dune 3, Dune Messiah comes out, as does Avengers Doomsday. Which is going to be the better film? Which is going to have the bigger box office return? I think this is a quite plain and simple answer, to be honest. I'm always interested for everyone else's opinion, because I haven't really found anyone that says different to me right now, and I'll be interested.
The only problem is Dune Messiah, the book, is not the most well critically received. Then again, I don't think they're going to do Messiah. I don't think they're going to do very different than that book. But man, you're talking to a comic book fan. If I could see one, I'm going to have more fun in Doomsday probably no matter what, even if it's like the worst Avengers movie. I'm just going to have so much fun, dude. It's Doctor Doom. It's the Russo brothers are back. Dune Messiah will very much likely be a better film, better cinema, better written. But I will probably enjoy Doomsday more.
The general consensus for me has always been that Dune is going to be the better film.
Yeah.
Avengers Doomsday is going to smoke them in the box office.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So
man, I think Dune's going to move. Dune's going to move that date, dude.
I think they are. I don't think they're going to stay there. I mean,
impossible.
Disney forcing their hand by going, actually, we're going to put it on the same day, and then Dune will go, okay, we'll go back to March. We'll go back to March in 2027 probably. I imagine it'll be around then. I don't see them pushing it as far back as summer.
Very similar. It's like the same audience. With you got a little less. You got lower age for the Avengers stuff, which brings more box office. But it's sci-fi action, PG-13. epic. Like, so yeah, that's the same damn audience, bro. They're moving.
JD, buddy, thank you very, very much for coming on and chatting Superman. It's been a great start to the DCU. We're definitely looking forward for things to come. Just again, tell everybody at home exactly where we can find Why So Sidious Podcast.
At Why So Sidious Pod, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Yeah, that's where we're at.
And don't forget as well to jump on to the Why So Sidious merch page and get yourself a lovely t-shirt, hoodie, cups, whatever else you got on there.
Thank you, bro.
You can catch your old design as well if you did like the old design. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not as good as the new design, but they're still pretty banging, both of them. So you can even get stuff with the old design on there as well. So don't forget you can jump on that. And of course you can jump on to the Galactic Core podcast merch page and pick up a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat. You can even pick up a baby grow if you really want to. Just my baby wears one. It's absolutely fine.
That's awesome.
She doesn't get a choice, to be fair, but you know you can get those on there as well. But I'll be back. Well, I mean, we've got less than 2 weeks now till Fantastic Four. So I'm going to be back next week with a brand new guest on the show. Actually, and we're going to be doing a rating of all the Marvel TV shows that have started since 2020.
I will be watching that episode.
Got brand new guest on for that. That's going to be really good. And then the week after, Fantastic Four with another brand new guest on the show that's never been on before. So yeah, it branched out a little bit, but a lot of love for the returning guests like JD as well. So but thank you, everyone. That's it for now. But as always, until next time,
the Force will be with you, always.
Thanks for tuning in to the Galactic Core Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. But until next time, go get your geek on.